Tonight on CU at USC, we have a very exciting show for you. In our first segment, we'll be talking with Jackie Wertheimer. She's a USC student, just like you and me, and she'll tell us about the different charitable organizations here on campus that we can get involved in. And then, in our second segment, we'll speak with Chris Sayegh. He's the CEO and head chef of The Herbal Chef, a very unique food company here in Los Angeles. Find out why, coming up right here on Trojan Vision. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sullivan. Welcome to CU at USC. Our first guest tonight is Jackie Wertheimer. Jackie, thanks so much for sitting on our couch tonight.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here.
We really appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about this organization you're involved in. It's called Kicks for Kids?
Yes. So Kicks for Kids is a 401k nonprofit organization. And what we do is we coordinate athletic events for children with developmental disabilities Sunday mornings here on campus at McCarthy Quad.
And so tell me, what are these events like? What do you do?
So Kicks for Kids, obviously it's soccer. We play soccer with them. We have face painting a lot, bubbles, coloring, hula hooping. Honestly, anything that's outdoors you can do, we do it. It's a lot of fun. We have volunteers, our USC students, and then families are kids from the greater USC area.
So the kids from the greater USC area, how do they get involved in the program? What kinds of developmental disabilities do they have?
So we have a lot of nonverbal and verbal children. So like nonverbal are usually people with autism. We have age ranges from I think like 6 months until they are 22 years old, and then more verbal is like Down syndrome, other disabilities similar to that. And so what we do, the way we recruit our players is we have a director of recruitment who sends out emails and phone calls every single week in English and in Spanish, telling them about our events. We go to the schools in that area and get some of the rosters of the special education programs, and that's the way we have our kids come.
So how long have you been involved in this organization? You're a sophomore.
Yeah,
here on
I'm
campus.
a sophomore, so I've been involved since my first semester freshman year. I started as a volunteer, and the president reached out to me and sent me an email, and she was like, "Hey Jackie, you're a really great volunteer. I think you should apply for eBoard." So I applied for eBoard, and I received the position of the director of marketing.
That's always a nice email to get.
I know,
I think you're a really great
it made
person.
my day.
So why did you first get involved? Because I know a lot of students out there, myself included, want to get involved more on campus and in the community around us. Why did you first get involved?
So ever since I was in 3rd grade, I've actually done work with children with special needs. When I was in 3rd grade, I was cast in a show, aside a girl with Down syndrome. And ever since, I've just had a passion for working with children with special needs. So throughout high school, I had a buddy. I was involved in a performing arts center that did shows with people with special needs. And when I came to college, I was like, I want to still be involved, but I don't want to make that huge time commitment because that was a lot of my life when I was in high school. And so one of my friends saw Kicks for Kids at the Involvement Fair and told me about it. She goes, "Jackie, I think this would be great for you because it's only 2 hours on a Sunday morning, and you still get that experience and that presence with children with disabilities that you love." And so I went to the first event and I fell in love, and I kept coming back not every Sunday, but as many Sundays as I could.
And what about it do you love? What makes it so special for you?
I think really because like you honestly make their week. Like there's like 2.5. I do a lot of the parent interviews too. I'm in charge of the Facebook page, so I talk to a lot of the people there to put like interviews on Facebook and like how they feel, and just like hearing the impact you have just from 2 hours of your day is just so amazing.
What are some
to
of the things
me.
people say?
Last week I had an interview with one of the parents, and she was saying that it's hard sometimes because children with developmental disabilities, they're mean. They're not as accepting of the people around them just because they don't know better, and so they don't have opportunities to go out and be social. They don't have opportunities to go out and have fun and act like a regular kid. And like Kicks for Kids gives them that opportunity. They get to interact with other kids similar to themselves and people who actually want to be there with them, who dedicate their time specifically to them and like are opening and inviting and just make them feel welcomed and happy to be there.
So you've got these, correct me if I'm wrong, it's every other Sunday?
Yes.
And you play games with the kids, you have them in McCarthy Quad right here on campus. What's the camaraderie like among other students involved in the organization?
Great. We're a big family here at Kicks for Kids. It's very much, we have a lot of, always are accepting new volunteers. We have a lot of reoccurring volunteers who come week to week that we love and appreciate. And then we're always welcoming new people each week. So I think it's a very open and welcoming environment. Anyone can be a volunteer.
You don't have to have special soccer training?
No, nothing. I don't play soccer at all. I'm the most unathletic person you'll ever meet, and I love it, adore it. And it's all you do is you go to kfknational.org/register, register to be a volunteer, and come whenever you can. It's just a really great and open environment.
And so is it a national organization or just a USC club?
It's a national organization. We have another one in San Jose, and the USC chapter was started 4 years ago.
4 years ago, and you've been involved for 2 years now. And tell me about a fundraiser you have coming up too.
Yes, so next Friday, October 2nd, October 7th, my bad. We have our Soul Cycle charity ride. So I know Soul Cycle is a very popular thing
with people
among
here on
students here, yes. So what we do is it's $30 at the downtown Los Angeles location, which is about the same price as a regular ride, but your shoes and your water included, so it sort of evens out, and all the money goes to Kicks for Kids. So it's a regular Soul Cycle session. It's
for people who don't know, who are watching, what is Soul Cycle? I mean, I know it's very popular among USC community, but for people who might not otherwise know.
Soul Cycle is an indoor gym that does cycling classes, so it's biking.
It's like spin.
Yeah, spin is another way to say it. Very fun, there's a lot of music, very interactive.
An intense workout too.
It's intense. I've gone once, and I'm not very ready to go again. It's Parents' Weekend, so both my parents are coming.
Are they both going too?
They are going to. My mom has already bought us bike shorts.
Oh, wow.
I told her that I have leggings, but she insisted that I must wear bike shorts.
Bike shorts for this fundraiser.
Yes.
So you were telling me all the money from these fundraisers goes for Kicks for Kids.
Yes, all the money goes to Kicks for Kids. It's going to be a great time. We already have, I think, 30 people signed up, but there are still spots available for anyone else who wants to come. It's going to be a really fun time, and it's just a great place. There's music playing. The instructors are very interactive. They like to, make sure everyone's involved, having a great time. So it's going to be really fun.
And so tell me again when that is.
That is October 7th at 2 p.m. at the downtown Los Angeles.
And how do people sign up?
On the Facebook page, we have a link, and on our website, usckicksforkids.org, we have a fundraising page, and then there you also have the link to sign up.
So as a USC student, hearing this and saying, you know what, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to get involved. I've had the website, I'm going to go on there and register. What does the typical kind of commitment look like for me? What am I going to be doing every other Sunday?
So it's 2 hours, so you get there at 10 a.m. The kids usually come around 10:30, and our president has a meeting with volunteers, basically saying what you should do, any problems you may face, and how to overcome them.
So stuff like what kinds of things do you talk about then?
I think a lot of times a lot of kids don't know what to do when they have a child who's nonverbal, and they have a rough time trying to interact with them. So basically methods on how to get them involved and how to make sure they're having a good time. So I know we always have music playing, so for kids who are nonverbal, they really enjoy music and dancing, and and they don't want to play soccer, it's okay. Don't feel I think a lot of volunteers take it upon themselves, if their kids aren't playing soccer, they feel like they're doing a bad job, but that's not necessarily the case, and usually not the case. And it's basically about how to get your kid involved if they don't want to play soccer. So we have hula hooping, we have bubbles, we have things like that. So those are some of the meetings, some of the things we address before the kids come, basically, and if they need to go to the bathroom, what you should do, and just things that they would face during the day, so they're not surprised by them.
So you spend these 2 hours with these kids every other Sunday. Do you see, you've done it for a year now?
Yeah.
Do you see kids grow and change
Yeah.
and become more open through these kinds of programs?
Definitely. I think that's definitely something that happens. I know the buddy I had when I was a volunteer, I've definitely seen her become more social from coming to Kicks for Kids. She was very nonverbal when I first started working with her. You find a way to connect with them. For her, she loved I Don't Care, I Love It. I can't remember who sang that song, but I don't know why, but she loved that song, and whenever I would sing it, she would just brighten up. It was adorable. It was the cutest thing ever. And so I learned, she loves pop music. She obviously knows pop songs. So I would take her to the speakers. We would dance. Soccer wasn't for her, so we would do other things. She loved coloring, so we would go do coloring. And she loved we have service dogs that come sometime too. So you find a way to connect with them, which is why we recommend that volunteers come back week after week instead of just coming in once in a while, because you find they make a connection with these kids, and they look forward to seeing you every week. I have this one girl, Evelyn, who literally every time I see her, she's like, "Oh, Jackie's here," and I'm like, "Evelyn, what's up?" And I know it makes her day that I'm there to see her.
And that's got to be so cool for you too,
Yeah.
as a student.
Oh, it's amazing. It's the most fulfilling experience to know that you have such a big impact in someone else's life.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. One more time for people who are just tuning in. What's the name of the organization and how do people get involved?
The organization is USC Kicks for Kids. Our Facebook page is Kicks for Kids, which has most of our information. You can register to be a volunteer at kfknational/register, and you can find all the information about our fundraiser at usckicksforkids.org.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank
we
you,
really
Cole.
appreciate it. Coming up in our next segment, we'll be speaking with Chris Sayegh. He's the CEO and head chef at the Herbal Chef, which, as I said earlier, is a really unique company in Los Angeles. You're going to want to find out why. Stay tuned right here on Trojan Vision.
Oh, wow. On a
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's really great. All right, welcome back to CU at USC. I was just talking with Chris Sayegh. He's our next guest here on CU at USC. And Chris, we've been teasing a little while now. There's something special about your company, the Herbal Chef. And if people don't know, the acronym is THC. And that's because in every dish that you serve, as part of your, kind of 10-course meals you serve people, there's a little bit of marijuana in them. And it gets people steadily higher as they eat your meal. And it's just such an interesting idea in this day and age when marijuana looks like it's going to be legalized this November here in California.
Yeah, federally.
How did you come up with this idea? Where did this all start for you?
I mean, I think now the question isn't like, how did I come up with it? It's more like, duh. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously this was going to be a thing. And it was really, and I don't even like to say that every dish that I do is infused with cannabis. It really depends on the clientele. It depends what they're looking for. It depends if they want the infusion, and it also depends on their tolerance level. So if we have, sometimes I'll do 15-course dinners, and to a lot of people, having 15 milligrams is a little bit too much. So, or some people, want a little bit less. So throughout those 15 courses, I'll spread out 10 milligrams, and it depends on really the tolerance level of each individual eating. But sometimes I'll skip doses in between courses, and it really, it brings you along this little ride. So it typically is a heavier dosage in the middle, so that way you start to feel the effects, and then 30 minutes, 45 minutes into the dinner, you are starting to, start to feel it. You feel a little buzz coming on, you feel a little euphoria, you feel a little, really it's a mild buzz. And then it starts to hit you. And at that time, that's when the dishes start to become really light and airy, basically. And I want to correlate with how you're feeling psychoactively and what you're feeling physically, which sometimes you feel it in a lot of time with edibles, you feel it in your body, and you can definitely feel it in your face. You can, and psychoactive as well. So basically I'm going over the first part where they're feeling the real effects of the cannabis, the dishes start to get lighter. And then as they get the munchies, as like that effect goes away, about 30 minutes later, that's when typically we will start to metabolize and we'll start to get the munchies. That's when the dishes go into the main courses, so that they're going to eat their main proteins. They're going to eat their fish, their lamb, their chicken, their octopus, whatever is on the menu. And then it goes into a nice sweet finish when they're feeling in the euphoric stage. There's like 5 stages that they'll go through within my dinner, and the meals or the courses complement how they're feeling.
And one thing that people probably have picked up on by now is that you're not, making brownies in a basement for these edibles. You have training, and you've worked in Michelin star restaurants. That's where you learned how to cook. Give us an idea of some of the dishes that you make for people.
Well, it really depends on what's inspiring me at the time, at the location, what we're doing. So, like for instance, I just did a dinner that CNN covered, and I wanted to showcase what was available fresh and what was, what farmers market had and all that stuff. So one of the dishes was a baguette with a roasted elephant garlic aioli, and then it had a sous vide salmon that was amazing. This king salmon that we got, unbelievable. And then it had a cattail fennel pollen creme fraiche, which was, the cattail fennel pollen, you can only get it foraging. Nobody sells it. And that's what we got from our last trip to Tacoma, Washington. And so we brought that back, utilized it in this, and then we did a pink peppercorn tuile and dill foam. And it was, it's this little decadent bite that you bite into, and it's just, it's firing on all levels. Like, this is not a brownie, it's not a cookie. There's really, this is,
So where is the THC in that? Where is the marijuana?
You can hide it anywhere, really. One is, my guests will never taste the cannabis unless I specifically want them to taste it. It's a really unpleasurable, taste. It's very, very grassy. It's very hard to work with. You can balance it out with flavors, which is why I say you won't taste it unless I want you to taste it. But typically, you don't want to. And that in that particular dish, it was in the roasted garlic aioli, since you're binding proteins to fats and making an emulsification, which is what a mayonnaise is. So we know that we can store THC in fat, and that's what it will extract into most easily, because it's essential oils coming off the plant. If you don't know this, it's very, I'm just talking over my own head, but
because it's your job. This is how you do it. This is how you make these exquisite 10, 15 course meals that
and dose properly, and make sure that it has a right finesse to it. Otherwise, you can get people really messed up, and it's not what we're about.
And it's not a very good experience for you
No,
guys
it's
to do that.
terrible. Oh my God. I don't know if you've ever had too much of an edible, but it is not recommended.
So how do you? So talk about the tolerance questionnaire then. You give a questionnaire for people to fill out so that they can indicate to you how much marijuana they should have in their dishes.
Yeah. So typically people don't really know what they want or what doses they're going after. So to a beginner, it really helps me understand, like, okay, this person has never smoked. This person has never had an edible. Let's see. We'll just start them off with the beginner recommendation, which is 10 milligrams throughout the whole meal. That's coming in over a 2-hour period. So that, to most people, is going to do very mild buzz, but with a little bit of wine involved, and you have this really beautiful balance of a euphoric evening. And so when we get heavier, or more experienced users, they'll ask for 50 milligrams or 80 milligrams or 120 milligrams. And that they have to sign to make sure that they understand what they're getting themselves into, because to an inexperienced user, a 100 milligram edible would just destroy them.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the person and what they're looking for.
And what they're looking for. And it's not just these meals that you do. You also have a whole range of kind of pre-made products for people. What are some of those products people can buy?
Well, why I created the Herbal Chef was to make a positive impact. And my positive impact is, my medium is food. So food was, to do these prepackaged meals, I wanted to get them in the hands of people who, one, didn't know how to cook, 2, didn't know how to count their micro and macronutrients, making sure that they're feeding their body properly. And 3, didn't know how to infuse their own products with cannabis as their medicine. And so we started to dive into, we know that cancer patients receive enormous benefit from using cannabis, mainly CBD, but using cannabis in general. So what we did was create a frozen meal line that is specific to the ailment. So we have a line for chemotherapy patients, we have a line for geriatrics, we have a line for diabetics and for children with seizures. That way they can go and get their meal. They work with my nutritionist, build a meal plan that gets delivered to their door every week that's specific to their micro and macronutrient needs, as well as getting their THC and CBD in there, so they don't have to worry about how to infuse, where their food comes from, how they're going to cook it, and a lot of the time they don't even have energy to boil water. So this cuts out all of the questions and really allows them to just focus on getting better. And that's one of the things I'm very proud of is what we're working on with that. And then I have like gourmet edibles, and I do ketchups and mustards and spicy marinara and basil pesto and
some more unique things, not brownies, if you will.
I mean, why put medicine into sugar that's causing the cancer in the first place? It doesn't really make a ton of sense. With that said, I eat my fair share of sugar and sugary products, so it's really. But
you were telling me about a raspberry ganache bar you guys offer.
Yeah. Oh man.
Tell me about that.
Amazing Valrhona chocolate with fresh market raspberries, and then it's sitting on a homemade graham cracker crust. It's really decadent, delicious, super simple, but tasty, and it really just that's about. I can only go to craft desserts really, because I don't want to go down the just the traditional cupcake and traditional brownie and traditional cookie and all that stuff.
That route. Yeah. So another thing that strikes me about what your guests have the opportunity to do is when they pay for, and they're not cheap either. These meals run from $200 to $500 per head for some of the meals. When they go, they get a whole experience. It's not just the food, it's also the whole ambiance that you provide and the music, and you also have this cosmic cavern. So tell me a little about these things.
I'm glad you got to see it, because you can witness firsthand how cool it is, and then you can also extrapolate from that how cool it would be after one of these meals when it's at night, with the black light, showing all this amazing art. It looks amazing, right? So really what we're trying to do is create a cerebral experience. I'm just trying to change the way people think about having a dining experience. And through this psychoactive ingredient, I can now literally take their mind on a little journey. And it is changing the way that they're seeing the food with each course. With each, as each passing minute, you're literally changing your brain chemistry. So you're literally changing the perception of reality as you're eating, which is very esoteric, but at the same time, that's just what's happening when you're getting high, or when you're getting drunk, or when you're getting anything. You're changing your perception. So with that said, we like to facilitate different types of conversations. We want to stimulate, true discussion around art, around experience, around the human experience, really. So we put in art, we put in live music. We have my space that in collaboration with Green Street. We have what you saw, the Cosmic Cavern, done by Kenny Scharf. And Kenny's an artist that I've gotten to know through Green Street, and it was just amazing working with him. So we'll do dinners up there. I've done everything from 50-person mixers to singles speakeasies to 12-course plated dinners. So it really changes the dynamic every time, depending on what we want to do. And but it really is an extra level when you bring in this music and the art, and people can come and enjoy this whole cerebral experience rather than just coming to get a plate of food.
And one thing that also I find incredibly interesting about this business is that it is a business, and that how much it's grown and exploded for you. You started it. How many years ago did you start down this road? The Herbal Chef.
I would say almost 7 now is when I flew to New York and pitched my little. I was like, look, I'm going to open a restaurant, and everyone's like, okay, kid, how are you going to do this? And I was, I was 18 at the time. Yeah. I was 18 at the time, and I bought a ticket to New York to go to this underground investor summit so that I could pitch my idea. And I go with my cousin, and I literally talked to ArcView there. And it's funny because now ArcView is the biggest investor group in the space. And now I know a lot of the people that work there or that are the owners of it. And it's just amazing how it's gone from that to then, 2 years ago, me really putting pen to paper and saying, okay, this is going to happen now. And all that time in between, kind of working towards it and mulling it over, how it would work, waiting for things to align,
and learning how to cook.
Learning how to
time
cook.
period too.
Yeah, learning how to cook and starting 2 other businesses that taught me a lot about this business. It was a whole time of learning.
And now in the last 2 years, let's talk about the last 6 months. I mean, what's happened to you since in the last 6 months alone?
Yeah, the last 6 months have been absolutely insane. To the point where I am now feeling out of control of what I'm able to do. Meaning, I get so many calls and so many opportunities that my head is spinning, and I don't, without really thinking about it and diving in deep, then it's hard for me to see which direction I want to go, because there's opportunities coming from every angle, from production companies to TV shows to film to dinners to doing restaurants and bakeries, and so it has been incredible, and the media has helped. Like I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it literally went over. It's now in 16 different languages. There's over like 120 articles. There's 60 countries now. Every continent has written about it. I'm doing dinners all over the world now. I mean, it's just insane. It's insane. I can hardly believe it.
And so one of the things you told me earlier is that you need a little bit of help, maybe from a student body in doing this. And I think this is really interesting to a lot of the people watching. What are you looking for? You're looking for an intern.
I am looking for an intern. I'm looking for somebody who is willing, who understands the gravity of what's going on. My company is at the top of the tier in the cannabis industry, and the cannabis industry alone is at the, as far as brands go, I should say. But the cannabis industry right now is making $8 billion a year, and they're projected to make 20 or 40 billion by 2020. This is a massive opportunity, and I need somebody that just understands what I am offering, and that loves to travel, because they'll be traveling with me wherever I go. Loves to be organized, loves to stay in and work really hard. No, just kidding. Just really loves what I'm doing, really wants to be a part of this and grow with it, learn from an entrepreneur, learn from a businessman, learn from all these different facets that are going on in the company, and really help me out and organize, and mainly organize and be on top of scheduling.
All the crazy stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah. Facilitate opportunities.
Exactly, facilitating opportunities. Well, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to come on to our show. We really appreciate it, Chris.
I couldn't be happier with you guys. I mean, thank you very much for having me.
Of course. His website is theherbalchef.com, right? You can check it out there. Thank you for watching CU at USC.
Instagram.
And Instagram as well,
The
Herbal Chef.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Until then, good night.
You're watching Trojan Vision. For more of your favorite shows, check us out at trojanvision.com and like us on Facebook.
joining us on today's first episode of Balance